into Friday, it is going to be a bright start for many, just a bit of cloud towards the southeast. However, later on, cloud and rain will push in from the west, and that kind of marks the change that we're going to see in time for the weekend. It is going to be markedly wetter for many of us, but with that, temperatures rising a few degrees as well. Bye-bye.
Warm and cosy, with a chance of zero visibility. Boxed Boilers sponsors the weather on GB News.
OK, well, exciting set of front pages for you here. There's a lot about Russia and the threat that they are posing, really. It turns out that they've also hacked a fertility clinic, so there you go, another dagger in the heart for anyone who thinks leaving the government in charge of digital IDs will be a good thing. A 10% council tax hike as well, and 500 migrants a day are signing on to benefits. That brings the total to 1.27 million of them in total. There we go, all that and more.
There's just 2 weeks left to see how you could win your Christmas this year paid for by us. First, we'll give you an incredible £30,000 in tax-free cash. Then we'll give you a further £10,000 cash to spend on all your Christmas presents, even the tree. Christmas lunch, that's on us too, with £1,000 in shopping vouchers to spend at your favourite supermarket. Finally, a GB News Christmas goodie bag. For another chance to win, text WIN to 63225. One entry costs £2.50 plus one standard network rate message, or text BONUS to 63225. 5 entries cost £5 plus one standard network rate message. Go to gbnews.com/win. Entries start at £2.50. Call 0903 686 3232. Calls cost £2.50 plus your network access charge, or post your name and number to GB17 PO Box 8690 Derby DE1 9TT. UK only. Entrance must be 18 or over. Lines close at 4 p.m. on the 28th of November. Please check the closing time if listening or watching on demand. In
the GB newsroom, we bring you the news as it happens.
With our team of dedicated journalists across the UK,
we're ready to keep you up to date with what's happening every half an hour, every single day. Bulletins here on GB News,
the People's Channel,
Britain's news channel.
Mornings don't have to be tiresome, especially if you have the right company.
Wake up to news as it happens, opinion and debate, and of course, a little bit of entertainment too.
Because when the kettle's on, we're on.
That's Breakfast on GB News, a show worth waking up for.
Every morning from 6 a.m.
Only on the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
We'll spread the news, you spread the word.
You want to know what's really going on in the corridors of power? Labour don't know what to do with you half the time, and that makes you quite lethal in the chamber. Get behind the headlines with Chopper's political podcast. Join me, Christopher Hope, as I sit down with the great and the good of British politics. We'll see where this ruling takes us. These are the stories shaping our nation. Chopper's political podcast, available now on all platforms. Listen in and stay ahead.
5 hosts, 5 opinions, 5 fearless debates, 5 unfiltered takes on the day's news.
5 reasons not to be anywhere else on Saturday night.
This is the Saturday 5. You got me good there. Britain's biggest Saturday night TV show.
It's not a bad brand.
Yeah. Uncensored.
Very, very racy tonight.
On the unpredictable.
What did she say? Can you translate it for us?
And always entertaining.
And how can a country go from being led by William Wallace Saturday nights from 6 p.m. only on GB News, the People's Channel.
Britain's news channel.
You're going to want to stay tuned, trust me.
All right, welcome along to Patrick Christys tonight, late edition, breaking right now.
To go after the criminal gangs, to smash the gang networks.
To smash the smuggling gangs.
Smash the gangs.
To smash the gangs.
Well, get this. The French are going to set up big nets to stop the small boats crossing the channel. So we are now, what is it, maybe a decade into the small boat crisis, and we've finally gone big nets. There we go. Meanwhile,
we will also consult on removing benefits for those who are able to work but choose not to.
Well, I'll tell you what, I mean, this is ridiculous, but we all know it's happening. 500 migrants are signing up to the benefits system every single day. There are now basically 1.3 million of them. In fact, well, by the time I finish this sentence, there'll be more, won't there? And?
I haven't heard the Prime Minister engage in this at any level. No. It's about time he did. This is an issue of pressing national security concern. It's a question of national honour. It's time for Number 10 to step up to this and actually address it directly.
Wow, that was a former SAS operative earlier on at GB News, and the SAS is threatening the government with legal action. It's also made the front pages. Yeah, I mean, it's unprecedented. Find out why the SAS is basically gonna sue this government. And?
But you know what? You know, if I'm going to sit here and say, you know, country before party, party before personal ambition, then yes, I have to say yes, don't I?
You give up your seat for Andy Burnham?
I would, yeah.
What a way to go. Sir Keir Starmer is fighting for his political career yet again. There are now 80 backbenchers ready to back Burnham and replace him. And?
6 illegal migrants rounded up, alleged illegal migrants. They did AI facial recognition checks, and it's pretty much confirmed they shouldn't be in the country. They'll be detained, they'll be processed, they'll be kicked out.
Well, Ben Leo has been on an immigration raid. It wasn't an organised one, by the way. He didn't just decide to take matters into his own hands, I don't think, anyway. So we've got footage of that for you. And, yeah, there's been another massive hack. So bad news if you went to a fertility clinic recently. With us this evening are the director of the Popular Conservatives, Mark Littlewood, journalist and broadcaster Nina Mishkov, and GB News contributor and comedian Steve N. Allen. But let's get those headlines with Tatiana Sanchez.
Patrick, thank you. The top stories. Kemi Badenoch took aim at the government's budget plans at Prime Minister's questions today. The Conservative leader accused Labour of letting next week's budget unravel before it's even been published, demanding the Prime Minister to rule out freezing income tax thresholds.
This is the first budget to unravel before it's even been delivered. The Chancellor's cluelessness, I'm afraid, is damaging the economy now. The Prime Minister needs to end this shambles. So can he confirm today that he won't break another promise by freezing income tax thresholds?
Sir Keir Starmer argued the Tories have no standing to lecture anyone on tax or living standards after years of economic turbulence.
What we won't do is inflict austerity on the country as they did. It's caused huge. What we won't do is inflict a borrowing spree like Liz Truss did. They left waiting lists at record highs. Almost 1 million more children in poverty, and they wrecked our public services. She comes here to talk down the country. We're turning the page.
Serial rapist and former Metropolitan Police officer David Carrick's been found guilty of sexually abusing a 12-year-old girl and a former partner. The 50-year-old has been convicted of molesting the girl in the late 1990s and raping the woman during a relationship more than 20 years later. Carrick's already serving a minimum term of 32 years, having admitted 71 offences of sexual violence committed over a 17-year period. The UK is exploring military options if a Russian spy ship sails closer to British shores after its crew used a laser to target RAF pilots monitoring its progress. Defence Secretary John Healey says the UK is ready to respond if the ship heads south from its current position north of Scotland. The Royal Navy and RAF are keeping watch on the Yantar, which is designed for gathering intelligence and mapping crucial undersea cables after it entered wider UK waters this month. Foreign Secretary Yvette Cooper said the UK would be vigilant and determined in its response to Russia. Russia denied being interested in British underwater communications. And snow has blanketed parts of the UK as a cold snap brings freezing conditions to the country. The Met Office has multiple yellow warnings for snow and ice in force today. More severe amber warnings kicking in tomorrow, though. Dozens of schools are also closed in northern parts of Scotland. Those are the GB News headlines for now. It's over to Patrick.
Tune into GB News Radio wherever you are, online, on DAB digital radio, on TuneIn, on Radio Player and on your smart speaker. Just say, play GB News.
Welcome back. Let's get you Thursday's newspaper front pages. So the Independent lead with "We're ready for you, UK's stern threat to Putin over that spy ship." But I'm a little bit more interested in that story that they've got running along the top of their paper there, which is that apparently the French police are going to use big nets to stop the small boats. We'll talk about that in a second. Daily Express, proof that the pension triple lock must stay. They've done a story ahead of the budget about how many pensioners will be plunged into pensioner poverty if that triple lock went. The Metro, Russians hack a fertility clinic. Well, this ties in with several different stories that are going around today about the spate of hacking in Britain, really, how easy various different things are to be hacked, and ultimately linking back to potential issues with digital ID as well. The Guardian, though, Starmer calls on Farage to address racism claims. Look, again, unless something else has happened that I've missed, I think he has addressed it. He's denied it. But anyway, The Times, trans guide to protect women is left in limbo. I've not had time to read all the detail on this yet, but we will do, and we will cover it later on. But transgender people could be banned from single-sex spaces based on how they look, according to new equalities guidance. That's interesting, I suppose. The Times has been passed a copy of the final guidance, which aims to preserve the dignity and safety of women by Whitehall figures concerned that Labour is delaying publication to avoid criticism. Just quickly, councils, NHS trusts and businesses are still allowing trans women, which is, by the way, just blokes, to use single spaces despite the Supreme Court's rulings. There you go. The Daily Mail. What percentage of Britons think the economy is in a great state under Labour? 0. They've polled people, 0% of people. Remarkable. The Sun, ship hits the fan. This is a Vladimir Putin spy ship story. And the Daily Telegraph, cash for land deal. This is apparently what President Trump and Putin are working on when it comes to ending the Ukraine war. The Eye, 10% council tax hike for millions to transfer money to the North and the Midlands. And just to round us off, the Mirror, we see you. We're ready. And it's about that spy ship in, well, just on the edge of British waters. Let's go to the Independent first. I believe I can show you an image of these nets that are going to be used to definitely stop the small boats. So the Independent report, French police to use massive nets to stop the small boats. Is that the net? That's the net, is it? Really? OK, there you go. Well, there's some of the boats. Anyway, gosh, that's a big net, isn't it? Got them all in there, like that, sitting there like that. To me, this does seem a little bit bonkers. I don't know if we can just maybe get the nets back up, but I'm going to read you a bit more detail on this story now. So, French police are going to use nets to stop small boats leaving the country's waters. Officers will aim to intercept the dinghies by sea by dropping nets in order to snag and stop their propellers and prevent them from crossing to the UK. The new strategy has been delayed because of concerns by border officials that it will put migrants' lives at risk. So there we are. Mark, your view on the big net.
Well, you mentioned in your intro, Patrick, we've waited 10 years or whatever for some sort of solution, and this is the best they can come up with. I understand that what they'll do is the French enforcement authorities, who have hardly been pulling their finger out to date, will overtake the dinghy and drop the net, and the net is then supposed to sort of clog up the dinghy's propellers. And it's now gone through every health and safety check or whatever. We'll see. How many will it stop? Some, I guess. I mean, I like welcoming a very small step in the right direction. It strikes me this is in the right direction, but a very, very small step.
Again, it's just like, why on earth could this not have been done years ago?
Well, a little bit of pushback. It's not fair to classify it as like nothing's happened so far. The French did puncture one dinghy.
There you go.
We saw that, and that's £500 million well spent. It makes you think, how expensive are these nets for the amount of money we sent over per net?
I bet we're paying for the net.
Of course we're paying for the net. Of course we're not even making the net. We're importing the net, and we'll be paying for it, of course.
There'll be some overhead on that.
And who's making the net? Probably China.
China will be making the net. Of course, it's a single-use plastic. We'll have to get rid of that. And one dolphin will get caught in it once, and that'll be the end of it. Yeah. So Attenborough will be doing some documentary.
These nets.
Yes, I totally agree. This seems like it should have happened ages ago, because it's not the trickiest of things. It's not like there's no sonar or a weird technology. Net technology has been around for a while now, before
but
the
also,
internet.
presumably as well, like the French police have been staring at the solution every single day, because just off the coast of Calais and Dunkirk are lots of fishermen. with massive nets. So as they're trawling the channel every day, they're like, oh, how do we stop this crisis?
Suddenly the penny dropped.
But isn't it true that the French police aren't allowed to stop them in the water?
That's why they punch us. Yvette Cooper told us that law had now changed.
Yes, but we're not sure that if that's actually happened because of all the political confusion in France at the moment. But if that's possible now, they could do it. But would it be safer than trying to puncture one? Presumably.
Presumably the theory is that the propeller gets caught, they all stay on the boat and they just wait to be picked up by the French in the French waters and then they come out.
That's the idea.
Is it like those speed traps where the police throw those kind of, those...
To puncture you, on a car, to puncture the tyres, I think.
No boat's ever spun out because it's been caught in a net. I don't think we're not talking about those kind of speeds. Like when a car gets a tyre popped, it can be difficult. I think the boats they'll just continue to drift forwards.
Yeah. I welcome the massive...
There's a net attached,
No, I welcome the nets, of course. I think, this is good.
But look, the whole problem here is we are trying to tackle the issue down the wrong end of the telescope. The fact that there are so many people in Calais determined to get to Calais and then determined to get to England, we have to stop that pull factor. And at the moment, we're trying to tackle it not really at source. The source is it's so attractive to get here that even if a net clogs up a couple of dinghies, the flow will continue unabated.
That brings us on nicely to the Telegraph front page.
I was going to say, but isn't that what Shabana Mahmood has been announcing?
It's what Macron's been announcing, and you sound like Macron again.
So let's go. Let's go.
Pronounce it right.
Let's go to the Daily Telegraph, and because it ties in, their side story is nearly 500 migrants a day sign on to benefits. So it's just the latest in a pretty devastating raft of figures that just keep coming about this stuff. So nearly 500 migrants a day are signing up for benefits. They've also say that basically means that there's nearly 1.3 million foreign nationals currently receiving universal credit, an increase of 6.7% in a year. So again, it's another pre-budget story, isn't it? So taxes are going to go up. It will raise questions for some people, I would have thought, Steve, about exactly where our money's going.
Yeah. Again, we're kind of having the debate in the wrong part of the argument. You actually just need to have some national debate fixing this question. Who has the right to stay in a nation? And if you work that out, then actually you wouldn't mind. If you knew that everyone who was applying for legal migration wouldn't end up on benefits anyway, anyone who's actually coming over here as a refugee who's genuine, you wouldn't mind, because that would be our international obligations. But the reason we're upset is because we've not fixed this problem. Actually working out who should be allowed to gain entry to the UK and then therefore stay and therefore get on the benefit system.
But it's not a new problem. There were 873,000 in 2022, for heaven's sake. So it's not suddenly kind of skyrocketed from zero under the Tory government to the Labour government.
No, it's a worsening problem, though.
It's a worsening problem. But again, what Shabana Mahmood has announced will surely tackle that. Because...
I think we should go a lot further than that. Steve asked the right sort of questions. I mean, we do treat different people differently, right? So, I mean, if you're a tourist here legally, you will get accident and emergency services if you're hit by a bus, but you won't qualify for cancer treatment, for sake of argument, right? And my starting point would be if you're a newly arrived immigrant, we can determine what newly arrived means, you don't qualify for benefits until certain criteria are met, and then we need to enunciate what those are. You've contributed a certain amount in taxation, you've been here at least 10 years legally, those sort of criteria being ticked off, and therefore this just doesn't arise. And furthermore, it stops this magnetic pull of, great, I can be one of the 2.7 million who get over the English Channel and then claim. My starting proposition would be, you are not eligible until you have accrued some credit in the bank. And if we changed our welfare rules, which goes far beyond what Shabana Mahmood is agitating for, I think that solves an awful lot of problems. Money going out the window and the attraction of coming.
But isn't she saying if you're on, you can't be on benefits because if you're on benefits and you're not actually supporting yourself, you're out? That's what she said.
It's a step in the right direction, but I still think we should be having that part of the discussion. The headlines are all very easy to be like, oh, I'm really angry about the number of people who are doing the thing. And then you can say, oh, that number's always been large over the last few years. Again, because it's going to stay large, because everyone's doing that argument instead of sorting out our actual starting position, and then we could fix everything.
Yeah, I mean, these numbers are quite maddening, though, isn't it? And just points to how easy it is not just to come to Britain, but to get into Britain, to stay here, and to receive an absolute shed load, and to live on benefits.
Yeah.
Well, I was going to say, as I said in the previous programme, we've got nearly 1 million young people under the, who are claiming benefits. They have not paid anything into the system, and yet they're getting benefits.
The majority of these.
So are we going to throw them out of the country
Yes.
too?
Well, yes.
I would queue up.
I'm with the late great
applaud.
Frank Field on this. Young people should not automatically qualify for these benefits.
Absolutely.
They need some sort of record of paying in.
Yep.
If you try and throw them out of the country, they'll just take a net with them and just try and throw it in front.
Yeah. Apparently 762,000 of these claimants are actually people who were granted ability to stay under the EU settlement scheme. So it's quite interesting now, isn't it? For a lot of people saying, obviously things were a lot better when we were the EU, we can have all these hard-working Spanish...
Well, that's more than half of it just there.
Yeah.
Right? So, and
but they
also
can go back to safe countries, is what I'm saying as well.
Yeah, but also the thing is, you've got to kind of look at this in two ways. There's a kind of stock issue and a flow issue, right? So I think it's difficult to strip away rights from people who have accrued them, even if you think the rule book at the time was unduly soft or mad. Those were the rules that people entered under. It's quite difficult to pull the rug from under those feet, the feet of those people. So it's a question of looking forward. What is your eligibility for various types of benefits as of the 1st of January 2026 if you're not here at the moment? And I don't think that hasn't been grasped sufficiently strongly.
Another story actually on the Daily Telegraph, so I might as well keep it up, is BBC trans bias has hurt our children. This is hundreds of parents accusing the BBC of damaging their children with a constant drip feed of one-sided pro-trans programmes. The Bayswater Support Group, which represents 650 mothers and fathers of children and teenagers who believe they are trans, has called on Ofcom, the broadcasting regulators, to launch an investigation into the corporation's coverage. That's remarkable, that. There's parents who are openly accusing the BBC of indoctrinating their kids.
But what are these programmes? I mean, I haven't seen... I don't watch everything, but what are these programmes that are...
Well, they say it's a constant drip feeding. So there's certain things like they had a non-binary raccoon in a kids' programme. They also had a non-binary alien. There's various trans characters. I think there's one in Waterloo Road where she accused... it's quite a funny clip, really, because bear in mind this is fake, obviously. The storyline was about her being dead-named by her dementia-riddled grandmother, and we were supposed to feel sorry for the child, not the grandmother, which was remarkable. But there's all sorts of this stuff.
I mean, Coronation Street had a trans character as well. You can't say you need TV without any trans characters. No. But Doctor Who really, I think, made up for most of the stats. A couple of specials. Which, just as a little aside, I'm not going to take everyone with me on this because I'm a Who fan and not I'm a Whovian. But the episode with David Tennant where Catherine Tate's daughter says, a doctor who presents as a man could never understand this. He was a woman 2 episodes ago. Give the guy a break. He was literally Jodie Whittaker 2 weeks ago. If anyone could relate, it'd be him. We did hear about the BBC's LGBTQ desk.
Yes.
I've worked at the BBC and didn't know about this. Everything needs to be run past the desk first.
I've been looking around GBNews to try and find your LGBT plus desk, but I can't find it.
There's a joke in there somewhere, but I'm not allowed to make it. So I think we'll leave that there, right, OK, so we're going to come back. We're going to be doing a bit of this, apparently.
You have put your trust in us, and we will repay that trust. The work towards a decade of national renewal has begun. There is no time to waste, and we are just getting started.
Oh, great, honestly. So it turns out that 0% of the country think the economy is in a good state under Labour. That's right, 0%. It's on the front of the Daily Mail. More on that when we come back.
Westminster's full of talk, but out here, it's the real world.
Am I allowed to talk
No,
now?
that's it. This is where it matters, real people and real lives. That's what politics is all about.
In fact, has Trump made a good start? No.
Straight answers, no spin, and just a couple of pints.
How many fingers have I got up? About 10.
So join me for Lee Anderson's Real World every Friday at 7 p.m. only on GB News. The People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
This is GB News, Britain's news channel.
So proud of GB News for getting, and Bev, of course, for getting the interview. But the real important message from all of it was, of course, President Trump's attack on the BBC. I've been proven wrong because I tweeted a couple of days ago, it just shows how much I know. I tweeted that I thought President Trump might accept the apology from the BBC as an off-ramp and say, look, I want to be the nice guy here. I don't want to sting the great British public who, of course, pay the licence fee and who would ultimately be funding any settlement or court fees. So I thought he might use that as an off-ramp. But nope, we got into the Roosevelt room in the White House. Bev sat down with him. I was standing just behind Bev listening to the whole interview. And even before we went live with the interview and started recording, he was so shocked, angry, and more than anything, actually, confused as to why the BBC would behave like that. He just couldn't believe, not that, you know, on one occasion, fine, maybe it could be a mistake, but the second time, the Newsnight incident just proves that, in his mind, it was intentional, it was institutional bias. There's a clip there of, a photo, sorry, there of us in the Oval Office. It was an amazing experience, Nana, of course, just being in that room. Once we finished the interview, President Trump came over to us and said hello and asked if we'd like to see his office and the Oval Office. And yeah, stepping into that room, the history, you can feel it, the soul of the place, the grandeur, the gold as well that President Trump has installed all over the room. He's received some criticism for his use of sort of gold decor across the White House, but I have to say it was extraordinary. And it didn't stop there. He then invited Bev and I and some of the crew out onto the Rose Garden patio. There was American music playing, which was very funny. And we had a quick glimpse down at the presidential Hall of Fame, just from the top of the patio there.
GB News, the People's Channel.
You want to know what's really going on in the corridors of power? Labour don't know what to do with you half the time, and that makes you quite lethal in the chamber. Get behind the headlines with Chopper's political podcast. Join me, Christopher Hope, as I sit down with the great and the good of British politics. We'll see where this ruling takes us. These are the stories shaping our nation. Chopper's political podcast, available now on all platforms. Listen in and stay ahead.
Welcome back to Patrick Christys Tonight, late edition. Right, OK, so we are going to rattle through these newspaper front pages. The one we're going to focus on now is the Daily Mail. So they have done a poll, and we're going to get this in front of me now. Not that it takes long for me to remember, because it turns out that 0% of people think that the economy is in a very good state, and apparently only 4% of people think the economy is good at all. And that is the same number of people who have support for the artist formerly known as Prince Andrew. So, Mark, your take on the fact that nobody in Britain thinks Labour's doing a good job of running the economy?
Well, it restores my faith in the intelligence of the British people, right? I mean, given that you have all sorts of things like 11% of people think the moon landings are fake and 25% believe aliens have visited planet Earth or whatever, it's reassuring to see that absolutely no Brit falls into the ludicrous category of thinking that the economy is in a very good state.
Yeah.
So, props to the great British public. I mean, these are absolutely nightmarish figures, and they are replicated in other indexes when you ask people about how confident are they, how confident is business, how confident are you're going to get richer next year or poorer. All the numbers are absolutely dire, and I suspect this time next week they will get worse after we have heard Rachel Reeves' budget.
What do you reckon about...
They can't get worse than zero, I guess.
No.
I suppose, yeah. I mean, they're right, so that's a thing. But the survey is about how do you think the economy is, not necessarily how do you think Labour's doing it. And look, I've got some sympathy. They were handed a terrible situation and they have played it badly. So it's not that much sympathy. But it was a sticky situation, and it doesn't seem that they've managed to bring the nation along with them. But if you're saying, are you going to be worse off next year? Yeah, I think we are. I think we but to be fair, they spent the first year of a Labour government saying, lower your expectations, things are going to be pretty miserable, to such an extent that was too depressing for us.
Yeah.
They managed expectations through the floor. And now, instead of it there being some turnaround, what was that? Short-term pain for long-term gain. Short-term pain for long-term, have another budget that's going to take more tax from you. So we don't seem to be turning around. So, yeah, I totally...
But
they should have surveyed me.
No one's ever been impressed by this kind of stuff, though, has it? You know, that kind of attitude. You know, some blokes do that, don't they? Like, before before the third date, with like, oh, look, it's been a while, and oh gosh, they're managing expectations. No woman's sitting there going like, oh great, I'm glad he's managing my expectations. Why do they think they could do it with the country?
I love the metaphor, because in both of the examples we are being thoroughly at the end of the day. Yeah. Didn't say it.
Yeah. No, you didn't say it, although I actually kind of wish you did now. Go on, Nina, what do you make of, not my analogy, of course, this zero?
I'm not going near your
analogy. Don't go near my analogy.
No, you know, this nobody feels well off. Everybody's got some problem. But if wherever you turn, the media, everything, it's all doom, gloom, depressing, downwards. You look on social media, which I don't, I understand everything is pointing negatively. So obviously people are depressed. But you're quite right. You know, they were dealt a really bad hand. And he said short-term pain. I think it's long-term pain is the problem. That's the trouble. What else could... I know that they made huge mistakes, but... it would, you know, there's no way it could have been turned round at this stage of the game, don't you think, Mark? In a year, you cannot turn it round.
It depends what you mean by turn round. No, I mean, I wasn't confident that the Labour Party would do the right thing. But even as somebody on the other side of the political ledger, I don't understand what their plan is. I literally cannot explain it. And usually I can explain what the other side's plan is, and I might then explain why I'm opposed to it. But I have no idea. I mean, they were telling us that they were laser-focused on growth. This was the #1 priority. Well, I understand what that means, but I can't name a single policy that any economist would say is likely to supercharge growth. And this wasn't just something they wanted. This was their #1 priority. So I'm completely confused about what they're attempting to do.
Just to move on to the front of the Daily Mirror, none of this might matter soon because we might all disappear with the white flash of a Russian nuclear warhead. We see you, we're ready. It's a North Sea standoff. The UK is warning Putin as a spy ship has targeted RAF planes. The Russian crew fired lasers at RAF pilots in their cockpits, which could have been incredibly dangerous, really, of course. It's incredibly dangerous. The other aspect of this is that apparently they are there to map the undersea cables that Britain has, which if the Russians cut, then we are knackered. And, you know, the Sun's got it as well. They've gone for ship hits the fan. I mean, look, are you worried about Vladimir Putin killing us all?
Well, yeah, it doesn't sound good, if that's what you're asking. Look, I'm worried because we're being tested, and we're often tested, aren't we? There's often a story of a jet comes a bit too close or actually into our airspace, and what do? And we never really do anything other than just go, no, don't do that. Because we are terrified of escalating, and Putin knows this. So he can manage to do things up to the edge and slightly beyond it, and that edge then moves. So now we've got this thing of shining lasers at our planes, which is terrible, especially if the planes are being flown by a cat, which then would really distract them. No, but it is terrifying, and we are powerless to do anything about it because if you start, you've got to follow through.
What's worrying is that Putin's kind of little sorties and escapades through into Europe and to us have escalated since Trump has taken his eye off the ball. Trump's not interested. He's with the Saudis now, you know, getting money in. So the whole business of Russia's aggression is beginning to escalate. I saw on TV tonight Steve Rosenberg, who's the BBC correspondent, who I really admire. He's a very good guy, and how he's maintained his job and how he's still in Moscow, I don't know. But he was saying that the propaganda that the Russians put out on their state media
is even worse than the BBC.
Well, probably. No, but the whole thrust of it is that we are the aggressors. We, the West, are the aggressors. Yeah. They are defending, you know, the state, etc., etc. But he said there was one thing that came out on TV today. They had a list of the aggressors, and what was at #1? Who was it now? We were at #1.
But this is classic misinformation, though, isn't it? Because this is what... So, for example, today, the Russians released a statement, and I won't do the accent. Well, it probably would have been the least offensive accent for me to do on national television, but anyway. And say, we have no interest in your undersea cables, which I took to mean they are very interested in our undersea cables.
Yeah, I mean, there's no point in... Yeah, I agree with you, Patrick, that you should read almost the opposite of whatever is stated in a diplomatic exchange. But it does beg the question of what we're going to do. I mean, Steve is right. They keep pushing the envelope and we don't bite back. I mean, the first line of the Mirror's headline, trying to praise our defence secretary, is that Vladimir Putin was rapt yesterday. Rapt. I mean, I don't quite know what that means. We issued a stern press release.
Go and have a word.
We phoned up. So what are we going to do with when? We are a nuclear power, like Russia.
Excuse me, nuclear.
Nuclear.
Thank you.
This is. I'm going to deliberately get it wrong now, just to wind you up. But I mean, and obviously you don't want to see an escalation. But is the response to not wanting to see an escalation just to, assume the fetal position at all times? That does actually seem to be our present defence strategy.
But it's also, what does it mean, right? So John Healey goes, we see you. We're if the Yantar, it sounded like a code word, didn't it? It was like, if the Yantar travels south again, we will be ready. So we're going to shoot it then?
No, but there's no security involved in protecting the undersea cables. I mean, we are fantastically vulnerable, aren't we? I mean, we all are.
Yeah. And like a couple of days ago, like part of the internet went down. It was an absolute nightmare. Well, you can't walk in Marks and Spencer and know you're about to use your card anymore. So yeah, there's all the worry of that. And they say they're not interested in our cables. Then why build a submarine that analyses cables? I mean, that gives it away.
And also, sorry about it, just to land this on the production team there, but is there any chance we could just bring up the Metro quickly? Because it is linked, really. The Metro have gone with their front page today, blackmail alert over Putin-linked gang. Russians hack a fertility clinic. So private details of thousands of British fertility clients have been stolen by Russian hackers. Their data was taken from a prestigious Harley Street clinic, which also treats a number of NHS payments. And the hackers, with links to Vladimir Putin's government, apparently, are believed to have infiltrated the London Women's Clinic computer system a month ago. And previous victims have said, well, apparently there was something relatively similar that happened in 2022. They faced demands of £600,000 to get their data back. I mean, this is what they're doing all the time, and it is by definition very sensitive information.
Yeah, of course.
Facility.
But I suspect also, I'm no techie, but I suspect extremely easy to hack. I don't think you need the agents of Vladimir Putin here. A half-competent 15-year-old in their basement with Wi-Fi can probably pull off most of this stuff. We haven't been remotely serious about cybersecurity. Incredibly easy to get around our systems. I mean, this is a private clinic, isn't it, in Harley Street? But our government systems, I think, tend to be even more fragile. So you're right, the Russians are, allowing this to happen, or possibly even encouraging it to happen. But again, what's our defence? What are we going to do about it? Lament it on the front page of the Metro?
I think, don't the Russians and possibly and certainly the Chinese have the ability, if they wanted, just to hack into, I don't know, traffic systems, NHS, anything. And
on China, we're letting them build a massive super embassy with lots of secret basement rooms in one of the most sensitive parts of London. Yeah. What could go wrong?
Well, just to say as well, it's not really just a London story, this, because although it's called the London Women's Clinic, apparently they've got 17 branches across the UK. These include places like Reading, Brighton, Bromley, Guildford and Darlington. So, again, it's also, let's be honest, I would have thought, people don't mind me saying this, it's an attack on women who are already relatively vulnerable, I suppose, when it comes to this stuff. It's a very, very private, personal matter, isn't it, fertility? So, there we go. But I think we're going to have to move on there for now, because coming up in just a moment...
6 illegal migrants rounded up, alleged illegal migrants. They did AI facial recognition checks, and it's pretty much confirmed they shouldn't be in the country. They'll be detained, they'll be processed, they'll be kicked out.
Well, Ben Leo has been in Florida rounding up illegal immigrants, and...
You will not be able to work in the United Kingdom if you do not have digital ID. It's as simple as that.
Right. Well, if you care about digital ID, or crucially stopping it, you're going to want to listen to what I've got to say when we come back. Stay tuned.
Good evening. It's time for your Met Office weather update for GB News. Now, even if you aren't seeing the snow at the moment, it's staying cold for many of us as we go overnight and into tomorrow. Harsh frost in quite a few places, all because we have Arctic air plunging its way down from the north, leading to temperatures being several degrees below average for the time of year. That northerly wind's also bringing a fair few showers, mainly across northern Scotland, but also down the eastern side of the UK and some western parts, Northern Ireland, Wales, southwest England, seeing some showers. showers, and particularly towards the north, these are going to be readily falling as snow as we go overnight. Otherwise, many places are actually staying quite dry inland. Clear skies allowing temperatures to drop, so frost for many of us harsh across some parts of Scotland, could get close to negative double figures perhaps. Through the morning, it is going to be a wintry mix across the northern half of Scotland, similar to what we've seen through today really. Snow continuing to build up here, and there could be some icy patches as well. Drier across central southern Scotland, more showers piling in across Northern Ireland, and these will be falling as a mixture of rain, sleet and snow. Similar across parts of southwest Wales and also maybe southwest England, and down the eastern side of England as well. Plenty of showers piling in, and especially around the North York Moors, the snow is expected to continue to build up. We could see 15 to maybe 25 centimetres of snow lying in some places. That's enough to cause some significant disruption. Many inland areas, however, staying actually dry, and there will be some sunshine around, particularly towards the west, but for all of us it is going to feel cold. Temperatures still several degrees below average, but the wind's slightly lighter than today. After a very cold night into Friday, it is going to be a bright start for many, just a bit of cloud towards the southeast. However, later on, cloud and rain will push in from the west, and that kind of marks the change that we're going to see in time for the weekend. It is going to be markedly wetter for many of us, but with that, temperatures rising a few degrees as well. Bye-bye.
Decisions made in Washington aren't just shaping America, they're shaping Britain too. From migration to global security, from crime to health. Whatever happens in the White House today
will be felt in your town or city tomorrow.
That's why The Late Show is live from Washington, D.C.
Cutting through the politics to show you what it all means for Britain.
The Late Show live every night at midnight.
Only on GB News,
Britain's news channel.
Westminster's full of talk, but out here, it's the real world.
Am I allowed to talk now?
No, that's it. This is where it matters, real people and real lives. That's what politics is all about.
The fact is Trump made a good start, no.
Straight answers, no spin, and just a couple of pints.
How many fingers have I got up?
About 10. So join me for Lee Anderson's Real World every Friday at 7 p.m. only on GB News. The People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Yes, OK, welcome back. So, now, a GB News exclusive. The Late Show Live's Ben Leo has been on an immigration raid this morning, not by himself. No, he went for a ride along with immigration and customs enforcement officials in Florida, where he witnessed a number of arrests. And we can play you a little snippet of what he found now.
So I reckon it's been quite a successful morning here in southwest Florida. We haven't got the main target, who was a Guatemalan guy accused of international cocaine smuggling, but they pulled over 2 vehicles in 2 separate stops, and they got 6 illegal migrants out of the country. So they weren't the main priority. One guy here being loaded into the car. So the search goes on for the international cocaine smuggler. But yes, as I said, 6 illegal migrants rounded up, alleged illegal migrants. They did AI facial recognition checks, and it's pretty much confirmed they shouldn't be in the country. They'll be detained, they'll be processed, they'll be kicked out.
Well, there we go. Here's the man himself, Ben Leo, and he's going to be doing his Late Show Live show this evening. Oh, you're still out and about, Ben? Go on, what's going on?
Yeah, it looks like I'm in the I'm a Celeb jungle, doesn't it? I'm not. I'm actually in southwest Florida still after the ICE raid this morning. A really long day today, Patrick. We left the Airbnb at 3:30 in the morning. We finished maybe some 6 hours later. The initial mission was to apprehend this cocaine dealer from Guatemala. He was wanted by El Salvador, and we had intelligence that he was somewhere down here near Fort Myers, down southwest Florida. We didn't find him after a massive stakeout. I won't reveal the full story because you need to tune in, of course, to the Late Show Live. But on our travels with the ICE agents, we were in a couple of cars, maybe 2 or 3 cars. We did pick up 8 illegal migrants. So it was eye-opening. The way they carry out their operations, their intensity, just hearing about how things have changed since President Trump took power in January compared to the situation under Joe Biden. Basically, long story short, the ICE agents now are allowed to do their jobs, whereas previously Joe Biden was apparently happy to have 15 to 25 million illegal, undocumented migrants flood into the United States. So far this year, more than 2 million illegals have been kicked out of the US. That's under President Trump's administration. 525,000 of which are forcible deportations. So that is close to being a record of 600,000, which I think was set by President Obama some years back. The rest of them left voluntarily because there is such an intense, aggressive campaign here to get people to go home. The US government is giving people $1,000 plus a plane ticket home to self-deport. There's massive TV adverts everywhere, billboards encouraging people to self-deport and hand themselves in. And if they do that, and they go home, they have a chance of reapplying legally to get back into the United States. But if they don't, we see what happens. Today, for example, on this ICE raid, that's what happens if you don't self-deport. They'll find you and they'll kick you out. More, Patrick, at midnight.
Yeah, looking forward to it, Ben. Thank you very, very much. Ben Leo there. Make sure that you keep it GB News from midnight until 2 o'clock in the morning for The Late Show Live. Now, this is, I believe, another GB News exclusive, actually. We're racking them up here. A former head of Britain's intelligence service has slammed Sir Keir Starmer for proposing digital IDs, warning that the scheme will fail. This is actually Sir Richard Dearlove, who, in case you don't know, led MI6 from 1999 to 2004. He said that they are going to immediately become a target for our country's enemies. He said that the emerging quantum technologies could undermine the government security systems designed to protect electronic identification schemes. So basically, the former head of MI6 is telling Sir Keir Starmer to not introduce digital ID, Mark.
Well, it's pretty compelling evidence, isn't it? I mean, the whole ID card thing comes around every time a government of either stripe has completely run out of ideas. You know, initially in 2001, it was to stop Al-Qaeda flying planes into buildings. Now it's to stop benefits cheats. We've got, at least for the issues that Keir Starmer purports to be concerned about, people working here illegally, we have systems in place that are supposed to deal with that. You need a national insurance number in order to be able to work here legally, essentially. So why don't we just make that system work? If we can't even make the national insurance system work, which we can't, there are millions more national insurance numbers than there are people in Britain, to give you an idea of how badly that system's failed. But if you can't make a basically pretty simple binary system like that work, you are bound to screw up a massive digital ID system. The government cannot run any form of sophisticated database. We should avoid this like the plague.
Should we be heeding the former head of MI6's advice?
Do you think he might know something about this?
Yeah.
I mean, the point that quantum technology will help you crack passwords, yeah, it's unproven yet. We don't have enough qubits to make it work. But if it happens, we've got bigger problems than just digital ID. If you can crack passwords, the banking system's going to have a bit of a headache to try and deal with as well. So maybe the first thing they wouldn't go after is having your ID app on your phone. But you're right. All this is basically is having a national ID number on your phone. That's all. What? If you can't make it work in real life, how is it going to be better? Oh, no, it's on the phone this time, so it'll be easier to check. No, well, if you can throw away your papers, you can throw away your phone.
Do you think we're going to end up going full circle and being told to do everything on paper again?
Well, a passport works.
Yeah,
a passport works. They, okay, you can fake a passport, but it's going to be taking you.
Well, they're chipped now, aren't they?
Yeah.
So that isn't just the bloke at the desk looking at it. You swipe that through a machine and cameras decide whether your eyes are sufficiently close or far apart or the rest of it.
Yeah.
So that has been digitised.
Yeah. So why don't we make everybody carry a passport then?
Yeah, well, then, but that's the original argument about having IDs. I mean, it wasn't all about digital ID, it was having ID cards, isn't it, back in the Tony Blair era. I didn't like it then, I don't like it now. I just don't trust any government. And this is not just some I hate Tories, I hate Labour thing. I don't like the idea of a government having that much power because they'll always use it in the bad way. Everyone's the hero of their own story. Whoever gets in, they'll be like, yeah, we won't scrap this technology, we'll use it for our good. And I don't trust any of them.
Oh, we'll never ask you for it. Yeah. Well, why are you making us walk around with it then? Why are you making me have this all the time and threatening to arrest me if I don't? We'll never make you show it to us. But, OK, I don't believe you.
We just need a Home Office that works.
We do. That sounds like an advert for Staples, doesn't it? Do you just need a Home Office that works? Anyway, coming up in just a moment's time.
I haven't heard the Prime Minister engage in this at any level. No. It's about time he did. This is an issue of pressing national security concern. It's a question of national honour. It's time for Number 10 to step up to this and actually address it directly.
The SAS is threatening to sue the Labour government. There is another solution, lads. That's next.
I forecast a perfect holiday in the sun. Well, they're looking good then.
For sure, and no worries about our travel insurance.
All Clear Travel Insurance sponsors GB News Travel Destinations Forecast.
If you're looking to escape the cold weather in the UK, your best bet is Greece, where it will be warmer than average, albeit with some heavy showers. Cold, meanwhile, across Iberia, and that's because the same northerly winds affecting the UK over the next few days will bring colder than average weather to Spain, to Portugal. Just 9 degrees there in Barcelona. A band of rain through the Balearics into Italy, as well as parts of Greece. This actually intensifies during Friday and the weekend, with some very wet weather across Central Europe.
All Clear Travel Insurance sponsors GB News Travel Destinations Forecast.
In the GB newsroom, we bring you the news as it happens.
With our team of dedicated journalists across the UK,
we're ready to keep you up to date with what's happening every half an hour, every single day. Bulletins here on GB News,
the People's Channel,
Britain's news channel.
Westminster's full of talk, but out here, it's the real world.
Am I allowed to talk now?
No, that's it. This is where it matters, real people and real lives. That's what politics is all about.
The fact is Trump made a good start, no.
Straight answers, no spin, and just a couple of pints.
How many fingers have I got up?
About 10. So join me for Lee Anderson's Real World every Friday at 7 p.m, only on GB News. The People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
You want to know what's really going on in the corridors of power? Labour don't know what to do with you half the time, and that makes you quite lethal in the chamber. Get behind the headlines with Chopper's political podcast. Join me, Christopher Hope, as I sit down with the great and the good of British politics. We'll see where this ruling takes us. These are the stories shaping our nation. Chopper's political podcast, available now on all platforms. Listen in and stay ahead.
Decisions made in Washington aren't just shaping America, they're shaping Britain too. From migration to global security, from crime to health. Whatever happens in the White House today
will be felt in your town or city tomorrow.
That's why The Late Show is live from Washington, D.C.
Cutting through the politics to show you what it all means for Britain.
The Late Show live every night at midnight.
Only on GB News,
Britain's news channel.
Mornings don't have to be tiresome, especially if you have the right company.
Wake up to news as it happens, opinion and debate, and of course, a little bit of entertainment too.
Because when the kettle's on, we're on.
That's Breakfast on GB News, a show worth waking up for.
Every morning from 6 a.m.
Only on the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
We'll spread the news, you spread the word.
5 hosts, 5 opinions, 5 fearless debates, 5 unfiltered takes on the day's news.
5 reasons not to be anywhere else on Saturday night.
This is the Saturday 5. You got me good there. Britain's biggest Saturday night TV show.
It's not a bad brand.
Yeah. Uncensored.
Very, very racy tonight.
On the unpredictable.
What did she say? Can you translate it for us?
And always entertaining.
And how can a country go from being led by William Wallace Saturday nights from 6 p.m. only on GB News, the People's Channel.
Britain's news channel.
You're going to want to stay tuned, trust me.
Welcome back to Patrick Christys Tonight Late Edition. Now, this is a story that we've just found is inside tomorrow's Daily Telegraph. So you ready for this? Police chiefs have been accused of treating prostitution as a normal job by telling their own officers that they should call prostitutes, quotes, sex workers, all right, or sexual entrepreneurs. Commercial sexual exploitation of women is at risk of being normalised and decriminalised by this approach. That's according to an all-party parliamentary group. I don't know, Steve, what's your view about sexual entrepreneurs?
Big fan. What? No, I love these stories where they're trying to control language because they're always the most stupid thing. You know, if you are a sex worker, I can't imagine the word prostitute is the biggest problem in your life. Like, my life was absolutely fine apart from that copper called me a prostitute once. No, that's not what needs fixing, is it? The terminology. But sexual entrepreneurs, you just mean influencer. That's what they are, isn't it?
Yeah, well, I wonder if that's it. Yeah, I mean, Nina,
Who was that ghastly woman? Who was that ghastly woman who slept with thousands of men?
Well, there's a couple, actually.
Yeah.
So
it's going to have to narrow it down.
Somebody Somebody blew. Stop it.
Bonnie Blue.
Bonnie Blue, yes. No, I mean, you could call her a sexual entrepreneur.
She is. She's the boss of her organisation. She's had lots of men under her.
But so repulsive to the average woman that I will not countenance it.
But
I think, actually, that I'm OK calling people sex workers because technically that's what they are. It's just another word for prostitute.
Well, sex work is quite normal. I suppose that's what they are.
But sexual entrepreneur makes it glamorous and makes it
I'm a sexual entrepreneur.
OK, come on, that's
yeah, no one gets trafficked into entrepreneurship.
Doesn't the whole thing speak to how mad Britain is? I mean, look through your front pages. Vladimir Putin's running rings round us. They're infiltrating our fertility clinics. Council tax is going to go up 10%. Pensioners are going to get less and less money. Zero people have faith in the economy. And what does Plod think the priority is? To make sure you don't call a hooker a prostitute.
Actually promote them. I mean, God, it's such an entrepreneur. I mean, you're right. You're actually right. I know you kind of said it in jest. You're right. People don't get trafficked into entrepreneurship.
No.
That's the thing.
Absolutely
You're not.
But it's not more entrepreneurial than any other trade, is it? I mean, is a bricklayer a housing entrepreneur?
Bricklayer is almost the right term for it, isn't it? It's one typo away.
Yeah, it is.
We're just this much away from complete disaster verbally, aren't we?
I think we've probably passed that.
Yeah.
I think we probably have. I'll get one of those emails in the morning. So there we are. That's good. OK, let's do something more serious. The SAS are going to sue the government, basically. Essentially, because of the Troubles legislation, which means now that you can be prosecuted like 40 or 50 or 60 years, whatever it is now, after you may or may not have shot someone in Northern Ireland. Now the SAS are thinking of taking legal action against the government against this, which is I think fair enough. But the crucial bit here is it's absolutely unprecedented. You know, the special forces, I don't think anyway, have ever basically gone to war with their own government.
What's their grounds of action? Is it under ECHR?
I'm not sure. I'm not entirely sure what the grounds of action are in terms of how they're doing it. I can have a quick look here now. Northern warning that legislation does not provide adequate safeguards for veterans. Labour. Well, I mean, I think they would have because my understanding is that they will have gone to war under a certain set of legal circumstances. They will have had their actions enshrined in law, and then now they are being retrospectively...
So it's like double jeopardy.
So it's double jeopardy.
Yeah.
So I think you could do that under British law.
More power to them. And the Troubles Bill is a disgrace. Look, if people in our armed forces in any way act outrageously, they need to be properly tried. But we are in danger of creating a climate where these people will think twice before doing nothing. And that's not what you want from the SAS or indeed any of our soldiers.
But there has to be some kind of safeguard. There has to be some kind of restriction. You can't just run riot and run rogue.
You prosecute them at the time.
But then they never do. They never
if you
do.
don't prosecute people at the time, at some point you're timed out.
I think you probably have to be pretty desperate to... Bear in mind, fairly often they get found not guilty anyway.
Yeah.
So you have to be fairly desperate to prosecute your own soldiers.
Well, say the Gibraltar, when the SAS killed those IRA guys on Gibraltar, there was a case, right? And it went through the legal system, and they were acquitted. You've got to do it at the time. You can't then, 50 years later, turn around to these people and say, oh, sorry, we didn't think about it at the time, we're going to prosecute you now. There has to be a time limit on it.
And it's additionally cruel because of that time that's passed. And now these are people who, I'm not sure if they're able to handle the stress. They're a lot older. You know, you want to have a nice, peaceful retirement after what you've been through. And instead, there's the worry of now court cases that they never thought they'd have to face.
It's not the same at all as, like, you know, when people were prosecuting or, in some cases, tracking down and executing the Nazis, 40 or 50 years on. It's not the same. I mean, these are people who were in our armed forces and, we weren't, I don't know, we ask a huge amount of those people, and then I think to try and...
You can't have it hanging over them for life. That's the key thing.
Anyway, OK. Well, there we are. I'm going to now remind you of all of tomorrow's newspaper front pages, all of Thursday's newspaper front pages. The Independent, we are ready for you. UK's stern threat to Putin over the spy threat. There's a spy ship that's stalking Britain. It's shining lasers into the eyes of our RAF pilots. Not great, really. And also, I think, monitoring where our underwater cables are. So that's good. Metro, Russians hack a fertility clinic. Of course, it does appear that the Russians are not showing any signs of slowing when it comes to their hacking between them and the Chinese. Gosh, they might as well just take over. But the Sun, ship hits the fan. Good headline there, solid stuff. Putin there, of course, being told off for the boat incursion. The Daily Mail, what percentage of Britons think the economy is in a great state under Labour? The answer is 0%. Have you ever seen an opinion poll where the answer to it has been 0? Seriously, not... I haven't. But the Mirror, we see you, we're ready. Again, this Russian spy ship's getting a lot of traction. One thing I should just point out, by the way, is that a week out of the budget, you very often see big defence stories on the front of national newspapers. Why? Because the Defence Minister is very keen to make sure that he gets his money or she gets her money in the budget. The Times, Trans Guide to Protect Women is left in limbo. The Eye, 10% council tax hike for millions to transfer money to the North and the Midlands. And The Guardian, Starmer calls on Farage to address claims of racism. Daily Telegraph, cash for land deal. This is the deal to try to end the war in Ukraine. In the Daily Express, proof that the pension triple lock must stay. It's a story about pensioner poverty. Thank you to my wonderful panel. Thank you to everybody who's been watching and listening. It is time now for The Late Show Live. Take you over to it.
Patrick, that's right, The Late Show Live from London and America tonight. We've got a very special show for you. Ben Leo has been on an ice raid. I know Patrick's been trailing it. I haven't even seen the footage yet, so stay with me to watch that. And also, in the last few moments, the BBC being investigated by the FCC, which is America's equivalent of Ofcom. That and what does Meghan Markle think you should be doing at Christmas? Don't go anywhere.
There's just 2 weeks left to see how you could win your Christmas this year paid for by us. First, we'll give you an incredible £30,000 in tax-free cash. Then we'll give you a further £10,000 cash to spend on all your Christmas presents, even the tree. Christmas lunch, that's on us too, with £1,000 in shopping vouchers to spend at your favourite supermarket. Finally, a GB News Christmas goodie bag. For another chance to win, text WIN to 63225. One entry costs £2.50 plus one standard network rate message, or text BONUS to 63225. 5 entries cost £5 plus one standard network rate message. Go to gbnews.com/win. Entries start at £2.50. Call 0903 686 3232. Calls cost £2.50 plus your network access charge, or post your name and number to GB17 PO Box 8690 Derby DE1 9TT. UK only. Entrance must be 18 or over. Lines close at 4 p.m. on the 28th of November. Please check the closing time if listening or watching on demand.
Westminster's full of talk, but out here, it's the real world.
Am I allowed to talk now?
No, that's it. This is where it matters, real people and real lives. That's what politics is all about.
The fact has Trump made a good start? No.
Straight answers, no spin, and just a couple of pints.
How many fingers have I got up?
About 10. So join me for Lee Anderson's Real World every Friday at 7 p.m. only on GB News. The People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
You want to know what's really going on in the corridors of power? Labour don't know what to do with you half the time, and that makes you quite lethal in the chamber. Get behind the headlines with Chopper's political podcast. Join me, Christopher Hope, as I sit down with the great and the good of British politics. We'll see where this ruling takes us. These are the stories shaping our nation. Chopper's political podcast, available now on all platforms. Listen in and stay ahead.
Decisions made in Washington aren't just shaping America, they're shaping Britain too. From migration to global security, from crime to health. Whatever happens in the White House today
will be felt in your town or city tomorrow.
That's why The Late Show is live from Washington, D.C.
Cutting through the politics to show you what it all means for Britain.
The Late Show Live every night at midnight.
Only on GB News,
Britain's news channel.
From the school run to the home run, watch a new show for all of Britain.
So he can say whatever he wants.
A straight-talking show where all voices are heard.
And, you know, when are we going to stop talking about smashing the gangs and actually do it?
With the stories that matter from every part of our country.
There's a bit of a crash landing there for your Chancellor.
Bold, fearless and standing up for you. That's me, Martin Daubney, 3 p.m. till 6 p.m, weekdays, here only on GB News. The People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
All too often, people will be sitting at home watching a press conference live, and they'll hear loads of questions being asked, and they'll be thinking, that's not my question. That's not my concern.
We don't care whose feathers we ruffle. We ask the questions that you want answering.
You're all standing on the street protesting and want to have an open discussion.
My name is Patrick Christys. I do a show for GBNews in the UK. Is it possible to talk to you quickly?
Journalism in this country has been a cosy world full of groupthink until now.
Well, this is the best view ever of Whitehall, looking out across all the tractor drivers of England who've come together to make their point.
Hello, so as you can see, I'm here in Westminster as the protest begins.
Yes, I'm very much in the thick of it.
Look, we're challenging narratives here at GBNews, and that's what sets us apart.
Good evening, welcome to The Late Show Live. Breaking tonight.
That vehicle you're following is not it. It's turning left at that stoplight you were at. We're behind it right now.
That's right, tonight GBNews goes where British cameras rarely go. We've been granted exclusive access to join America's crackdown on illegal migration, riding with the ICE guys, that's immigration control, as they storm their targets in a dramatic late-night raid.
Wow, illegal migration down to zero in the United States. I had the privilege of seeing how it was done.
More from Ben in just a moment, but also tonight.
What's your plans for your future? Will you fight the next election? You want to commit to that now?
Chris, you're getting way ahead of me.
That was the Prime Minister talking to GBNews back in April, but tonight it seems like his leadership could be more at threat than ever. I'll tell you why whispers of a Labour-led coup are now circling, just 1 week, of course, before the budget.
I think that the BBC is going through a real crisis in credibility right now.
So that was a clip from an interview that I did last week, but breaking tonight, it's the story that's not going away. Within the past few minutes, America's version of Ofcom, the FCC, has sent a letter to BBC executives and other major US TV news networks announcing that they have launched an investigation into the edits of President Trump's January the 6th speech. We're going to be cracking open tomorrow's front pages, hours before the ink is dry, breaking the news before it becomes news, of course. And this evening, it's a very special transatlantic edition of The Late Show Live. We are live, of course, from both London, where I am, and from America, Washington, and also Ben Leo, who is going to be telling us about the ICE raid. We're going to be talking about the stories that are affecting America and that matter to Britain too, including this. That's Dearborn in Michigan, where Christians are forced to hear the Islamic call to prayer 5 times a day from over 20 mosques across the city. Now tensions have flared, with violent protests erupting.
This is not America!
Thank you very much for joining me on The Late Show Live here from London. It's so nice to be back in the UK and back talking to you, of course, at home. Want to hear from you this evening, gbnews.com/your say. I've got panellists in the studio, I've got panellists in DC, but let's first of all go to take you exclusively where British news cameras do not normally go. We're going to bring you an extraordinary look inside America's war on illegal migration. Ben Leo was granted rare access to join the US immigration officers on a dawn raid in Florida, watching firsthand as ICE suspects moved in on a suspected Guatemalan cocaine smuggler. So let's speak now to Late Show Live fellow presenter, colleague Ben Leo. Ben, it's good to see you. We're going to show this clip in a little while, but we need to put a bit of background story to this, because when we landed in DC, you and I, in all of our meetings, you kept saying, I want to do an ICE raid. I want to do an ICE raid. Now, why did you, first of all, want to do that? Why is this story so important?
Yeah, you're not wrong. I think every other day since we've been here, I've been banging on about an ICE raid. Because it's the #1 issue, not just in America, Bev, it's the #1 issue in the UK and probably indeed all across Europe as well. It's illegal migration. I mean, legal migration kind of is a secondary issue, but illegal migration, especially in the UK and the US, has been the biggest topic for years now, primarily because these people break into countries unannounced. We don't know who they are, where they're from, and what their intentions are, and many argue it's a national security risk. And just in the subject of the UK, we see what happens when people, migrants, are allowed to roam freely onto the streets of Britain. On some occasions, the worst happens. So ICE in America, of course, has been going for a couple of decades now, but it's since President Trump took power in January this year that they've really been galvanised and been given a lot more, basically, oomph and encouragement to do their job. Under Joe Biden, under the previous administration for the past 4 years in America, something like 15 to 25 million illegal migrants flooded into America. It was President Trump's election promise that he would eradicate illegal migration to zero. And you know what? 10 months in, illegal migration releases into America are now at zero. You get one or two on the southern border who slip through, but compared to the 15 to 25 million we saw under Biden, that's happened. So this morning, on this dawn raid, we left at 3 in the morning. It was a sneak peek, a 5-hour operation as to how they've done that. What is it that President Trump has done? What have ICE done? What have the Department for Homeland Security done to enable such massive numbers of deportations? Just for context, since Trump took power in January, more than 2 million illegal migrants have gone home. 525,000 of them forcibly, thanks to the likes of ICE and their raids, and the rest were self-deportations, purely off the back of this aggressive, intense campaign from the Trump administration to force people to go back. If they do self-deport, they get $1,000, they get a free flight home, and crucially, the chance to reapply to enter America legally. So there is a chance to go back. If they don't self-deport, what happens is what we saw this morning, what I saw this morning with ICE, where their houses are targeted, they use intelligence tip-offs, and they are pulled over randomly on the side of the road, and their immigration status is checked. And the reason that deportations are up so much this year under President Trump is, well, for a myriad of reasons, but one of the main reasons is that Americans en masse are stepping forward to lend their services to ICE, the Immigration and Customs Enforcement. You get a $50,000 sign-up bonus, for starters. There's the chance to get your student debt forgiven and wiped off, or alternatively a repayment system which is very generous compared to the standard one, and great pension opportunities as well, and a decent salary. And just speaking to the ICE agents today, they were saying, the boss down there who was looking after us, he said all across America they've had 150,000 applications to become ICE agents since the start of the year, and they've been offered 18,000 jobs. So nearly 20,000 new ICE agents have been recruited since Trump took power, and that's why the numbers are so high.